There we go. Hey everyone, my name is Charlie and this is Charlie, and today we are here to share our wish list for the Booker Prize 2023. This is our second time recording this video and we've chosen to go live simply in the hopes that this means it won't now just... I forgot to switch that off. And we're going live in the hopes that this way we won't actually lose the footage, because we recorded, and I know that Charlie's going to agree with me about this, our best video yet.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
She got a gown and the jewels. She had green screen behind her. Yeah, I was in the Maldives. It was all fantastic.
Living our best lives.
We interviewed celebrities, and we earned millions from it.
It was epic. I don't know about the money. You might have earned millions. I didn't earn millions.
Well, you
should put all the money, Charlie.
Well, I was embezzling, obviously. You know, it's always been the case. I'm the Scrooge to your Bob Cratchit.
I don't know about that. I don't think that's true.
It was a shame. The footage that we recorded on Tuesday was unfortunately corrupted. And so we are here redoing this video once again. And we decided to go live to actually avoid any of that. And hopefully we can get this done quickly because this is probably the only bit of time we have spare before they actually announce the Booker long list next Tuesday. Is there anything you wish to say, Charlie?
Just that I'm so excited for the Booker. Obviously, the Booker video that we did last year was our first video filming together.
Yeah.
It was obviously got good memories, and this year I'm just so excited. The judges look like they're really good judges. I'm hopeful we might end up with trash, but yeah, I'm really optimistic that we're going to have a stonker of a year of the Booker. Like, this is going to be the best Booker yet.
Yeah,
it's my feelings.
It is something that Charlie and I always joke with each other about, is that if the long list is something we definitely don't want to read, if there's not a single book that we want to read on that, we will just do the Charlie and Charlie list. But last year we actually ended up, I think that quite a few of the books, people were really annoyed with the shortlist and what have you. And I feel like
we celebrated
positive reaction that anybody.
We literally were jumping around. I think we got 5 of the 6, didn't we?
We predicted incredibly well, yeah.
Yeah, we predicted 5 of the 6, but because basically out of our Charlie Science list, and which is like our special list. Do you want to explain our Charlie Science list for anyone watching?
Yeah, so basically we read the books and then we rank them, and so we rank all 13 as we would personally rank them, and then we use the scoring system from Eurovision, going from top to the bottom, and that gives us our predicted shortlist. And last year Charlie Science worked out incredibly well, and we say that we think it's because we are 2 incredibly different readers, and so it gives us a good balance when it comes to the shortlist. Hopefully it works this year. Otherwise, you know, the science is out with this one.
I feel like as well, it depends again on the judges. So I feel like depending on our thoughts on the long list, it would depend on our thought. Like, I feel like that's the gauge of it. If you're going to be happy with the winner, if you feel like the long list is a long list that, because we were like that long list last year, it was a good long list. It was a really obviously. So yeah, I feel like that's the gauge of it. If we like the judges' picks for the long list, maybe we're going to be in sync with the judges for the short list. Yeah,
and you know, I just hope there's another book about like Marley Almeida where you're grinning and sending me pictures of stuff that's written in there. I'd love to have another one of those very interactive experiences when reading a book.
We say hi to Amelia. Hi, Amelia.
Say hi to Amelia, and what do we do? See, it's been so long. There we go. We just press that and say hello to Amelia, who is, you know, one of our greatest supporters when it comes to our collaborations together.
She's an OG. Do you want to kick off?
I was just thinking that. So we've created a wish list. Shall I do the odd numbers again and you do the even numbers again?
We will say that, yes. Even though I still feel like I am the oddest out of us, but you know.
I know, but it's just because you'll know the authors to some of these that I don't. Anyway, kicking things off, we have Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, which I feel like we don't really need to explain what this book is about. It's doing fantastically. And Charlie and I both very much like this book, I think is the easiest way to say that.
We love it. It's going to be one we go back to. And again, she's an author that I want to read all her backlist. So yeah. The next one on the list is In Memoriam by Alice Winn. Historical fiction set in the First World War. We follow
Henry Gaunt and
Sidney Elwood and Henry Gaunt.
There we go. We figured it out.
It's not really hard because I literally love those characters. They're like some of my favorite bookish characters of all time now.
I think we always ruin things for ourselves because we're always trying to remember their first names, and throughout the entirety of that book, they're just referred by their surnames.
It's true, yeah, they do, yeah, because Gaunt and Elwood and Gaunt, but still.
Yeah, they are the very serious versions of Bert and Ernie. But again, we had a fantastic experience reading this book.
It was so much fun reading it. It was obviously not fun because the topic matter. I want to preface that.
It feeds into the mythology of the Charlie and Charlie buddy reads, really. Of Charlie messaging me, I'm reading this book, me grabbing that book and reading it too. We've done it with The Trees, and now we've done it with In Memoriam, and hopefully there's one on the book along list that we are going to do that with as well.
Yeah. Two of the bookers, incidentally, were on my favourites last year. Two of the book along list was on my favourites of the year. And whereas only one of the women's prize, I think, actually the women's prize books last year didn't even make my favourites of the whole year. I
don't know how to say it. I can't even remember whether any of the. I know one book. The winner of the Booker Prize definitely made it onto my.
Moons did, yeah, Moons did.
So So
I think Maps did too, did Maps not quite make it?
I don't think Maps made my top 10 last year. No.
No, but you were. Yeah, you were.
I hope not, because I unhauled that book. So next we have Birnam Wood by Eleanor Catton, and this is simply the reason this is on the wish list, I think, is because one, I really like the Luminaries. I'm aware that this is nothing like the Luminaries. It's completely different topic, completely different writing. We don't know that she will end up longlisted, because she was longlisted before. Well, she won it. I'm just hoping she is, because I borrowed this book from the library, and it would make things a lot easier for me if she was.
I've requested it. I think I've got an e-copy. I've requested an e-copy, or I've requested a physical book, one of those. It's environmental, I believe, following a guerrilla group, isn't it? So yeah, I'm like, this, to me, to be honest with you, being completely honest, this is one that kind of has words that turn me off as a reader. But people that I know and trust have read it and enjoyed it. So,
I did say the one thing putting me off was the blurb by Kieran Millwood Hargrave, but that was only because I'd read another book that also was blurbed by that author and hated it. And so I'm thinking, are we two completely different sorts of readers?
I love her writing, Kieran Millwood Hargrave, but yeah, that's a whole other side note.
Yeah.
And the next one on the list is The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese, and historical fiction, predominantly set in India, and it's sort of got a medical narrative through it, and a sort of generational family story as well. And I read it. It's very, very long. It's 720 pages. If this makes the long list, I think Shelley will probably ban the book forever, or she'll.
Yeah, I can remember you saying that the other day.
Cause some sort of protest riot. Sorry, Shelley, but I really enjoyed this book, and it is a little bit long in places, and it is a little bit dragged out in places, but I am rooting for it. So, yeah.
That's the length of that book. I don't know why I would say that the length of that book would put me off, because I just read that 771 page book in a week.
Yeah,
we did the love stories of W.E.B. Du Bois last year. We have found some very fantastic long books, so I don't know why the length.
It does. I feel like this has a good payoff at the end. Like, I know that not a lot of people will want to read 720 pages just to get a good payoff, but I liked that, and I appreciated the good payoff. Like, I appreciate the fact that at the end I was like, by the end of the book, I was actually wanting to go back and kind of reread the whole thing, because it drops little nuggets throughout, as all good books do. Drops little nuggets throughout that if you go back and reread it, it sort of would be even richer. So yeah. What's the next one?
So the next one we have is We All Want Impossible Things by Catherine Newman, and I don't think that this is going to be on the long list at all. I don't think that anybody is going to be like, putting this book, mentioning this book in the same sentence as the Booker. However, there are some themes in here that seem similar to themes that were explored last year in the Booker long list. We have two friends, one of whom has a terminal illness, and we are discussing the story of their friendship. And basically, this book was one that is a recent release. I went into a charity shop in Bakewell and saw someone put it on the shelf and was like, I'm having that. So just took it straight away without really having any knowledge about it. But I just think that it's one of those stories that could be mildly heartbreaking. It's a rather slim volume, and I feel like it's still going to say a lot about life and a lot about friendship and exploring female friendships as well, which is something that we always like to see done in fiction. So that's why I want it to be on the long list. But
you just never know with the Booker, do you? Yeah. Like people all like didn't like with I, William last year. No, like everyone was like, "Why is this?" Like it was kind of a bit of a left field. And I feel like you never know what's going to be listed. It could be so.
But it would be great if it was on there, because then I own it.
You got it. Next one is The Story of the Forest by Linda Grant. This is one with the most beautiful cover ever. I'm so sorry I do not have the ability to show you this cover. I'm sure you've seen it if you watch Bob the Booker's channel. And the premise, again, it's sort of, I think, is it set in like, is it not near Poland or something? It sort of sets, I'm sure Amelia may even know this. I'm sure, Amelia, you're watching and screaming at the screen knowing the premise and where it's set. But yeah, it just sounds, everything about this sounds amazing. And Bob sold it to me. And yeah, I want it to be listed so I can prioritize it. I will read it if it doesn't make the list sort of towards the latter end of the year, depending on what else gets shoved in my eyes. But yeah, it's one I really want to get to. So yeah.
That was something from last year. I was going over our video from last year and looking at all the books that we said, even if it's not on the long list, we're going to read this. And I was looking at them like, I have not read half of these. And some of them I even forgot.
I've read quite a few of them, though, I think.
Well, that's because you're a better type of person than I am.
No, I'm a list ticker, Charlie. You know this about me.
Yes, you are. So then we have...
And Amelia, you're right. What it says, so Amelia said one should ignore blurbs by the... authors in general. I agree with you. It drives me crazy. The Women's Prize was a classic example of this, of loads of books being listed that didn't really match up to their blurbs. You're 100% right, Amelia. Sorry.
No, because what that comment from Amelia there about the ignoring blurbs by authors, it reminds me of the time that a movie hid a 3-star review on the poster for their film, because how they put it looked as though it was going to be a 5-star review, and they just slipped it between 2 spaces so that and you can always, people have even taken good words out of bad reviews and twisted them. So yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. Anyway, next, having just spoken about O. William, we have
the doorbell's just gone.
What? Sorry?
The doorbell's just gone. Oh, hang on a second, I'm just going to shout to my family because
okay.
Hang on a second.
We will mute Charlie for a second and just leave this Charlie here, and you can all anticipate what is going to come. This is what happens with live shows.
Lucy and Yak order has just come, so yeah.
Well, very good.
My Lucy and Yak order has just come.
Lucy and Yak, just as we're going to mention, Lucy by the Sea by Elizabeth Strout. I am determined to mention this book. I am determined to thrust Elizabeth Strout into everyone's faces because she is an author whose work I wholeheartedly admire for the way in which, I've talked about it before, she'll write something and I'll forget that I'm reading from the perspective of a fictional character.
Yeah.
And then,
what do we think her actual chances are? You never know again if there's a fan on the list.
I don't think she has many chances of being on the long list. However, we do have a book that's discussing the pandemic. The thing about the Lucy novels is you don't necessarily have to have read all of the novels to understand what's being talked about. It just gives you an added extra if you have read the other books before, but I know that a lot of people do have something about sequels going on there. I don't care. I just like Elizabeth Strout. So
and this sort of balances the power from like and the world from like, because we didn't list it last year. If we would have known it was eligible last year, the William, then we would have listed it. So this kind of readdresses that balance.
Yeah, they shoved Hilary Mantel on there with all of her books. So
then the next one on the list is Ghost Girl Banana by Wharton, which I don't know how many of you guys would have heard of. It's got a really gorgeous bright green cover, and it's set in 1966, and then also sort of then we travel 30 years later, and it's sort of again family. It's a family story, which this is like Charlie catnip, I guess, for both of us.
That's it exactly. It has one of our favourite titles that we have ever seen, and as soon as was it as soon as you heard about this book you mentioned it to me, or was it just? I think
so, ages ago. Yeah, I showed the cover. I would love it if this got listed. I would literally love it. I don't know whether it will, but we'll see.
Well, it would just be fantastic just to, if people are asking you what you're reading, Ghost Girl Banana.
I just think that's the best title. Again, this is going to be another Charlie book that we both are like advocating, and then hopefully this time loving.
Yeah, because we've done. Yeah, this is who we are, as evidenced in our mid-year book freakout tag video the other day. You get to see how much we can be proponents for a book, as I was with Great Circle, and we did with Thrust as well. And then only one of us has actually ended up liking the book in the end. So, next, we have Victory City by Salman Rushdie. Sorry?
It's Land of Milk and Honey. Is that on our? On the other one?
Oh, sorry. I've moved along. Yes, sorry. I forgot we deleted this. But it does get mentioned at some point. I'm sorry. You see, this is what happens when it's live. This is Next, we have Land of Milk and Honey by an author who Charlie's going to
Zhang.
By Pam Zhang, who a few years ago was on some list with their book.
It was Booker. It was listed on the Booker.
For How Much of These Hills is Gold?
Yes, that's correct.
And Charlie's going to talk to you about this one because, once again, I have no idea.
I don't really know about the plot too much. I can't remember, but I know it's set in America. I loved How Much of These Hills is Gold so much. It kind of gave me Steinbeck vibes, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your feelings on Steinbeck. So I really, really am anticipating this book, and I didn't really want to look up too much what it's about, but I just know that it will be one that, like, I trust this author so much. So yeah.
Well, yeah, no,
it's not released till September though. That's the only thing with this one.
Well, that's actually good for us. Because, just to go back to our Charlie Science list from the last few years, if there has been a book that hasn't been released, we've tended to predict how we're going to feel about it. And so, knowing how Charlie's felt about the previous book by this author, we can gauge how we're going to feel going forward with the shortlist. But if this might not even be on the long list. We're just predicting what could happen.
Our wish list. What we want.
Our wish list. Our wish list. What's next on our wish list?
The House of Doors by Tan Fan Eng, which is one I loved. I read. I got this one from NetGalley, and I was so happy because I listened to the audiobook of it, and it's set in Malaysia. Tan Fan Eng is a Malaysian author, and he, as loads of people have already talked about, he's been previously listed twice. He's been longlisted once and shortlisted. He's been longlisted twice and shortlisted once. And yeah, I just read his book. It's queer. It's historical. There's like a twisty kind of quite like a mystery element in it, and it's got like stories within stories because of it. Also, sort of riffs off Somerset Maugham is a character in this book, and so yeah, there's just so many elements to this book which I just love, and I feel like it was so cleverly done. I think this is like one I'm strongly like. I think this could be shortlisted. And yeah, I'm really advocating this book. So,
yeah, I didn't know much about this book, but when you've just said stories within stories, I do like that. So I have a trip to the library this afternoon. So even though it might not be there, we'll have a look. Now, next, I'm going to say the title, and Charlie's going to say the author because I still have not written this down. And the next book on our wish list is In Ascension
Martin Macinnes.
Martin?
Yeah, Martin Macinnes.
In Ascension by Martin Macinnes. There we go. See, the other day we did this and we were able to get through this.
And it's sort of yeah, and it's sort of it's a marine scientist, and again, or like a science, some sort of like scientist. It's got the natural world elements to it, and then yeah, it leads them on a journey across like a desert, I think, and it's just really interesting.
Yes, I do remember though. You went as soon as we can talk about the fact that as soon as we found out that there's going to be a science element in this, we were both put off madly. I mean, I
didn't realize it was a natural science. So when I looked up today, I've looked up and it's like it says like it's like nature stuff. So yeah. I liked nature.
We did kind of have we like the idea of them talking about women in science as well. So again, we're judging books for our wish list that might not be on the long list, but we're hoping they are. Also, I think
lots and lots of people have said about Ascension for there, so I feel like it's got quite a good shot.
Yeah,
I mean, not that the more people talk about it, the more, because obviously that doesn't happen. That doesn't work like that.
Well, you never know.
I'm going to try and get one of the children to. My washing machine's beeping. Can I go and tell the children to turn it off?
Fine. See, again, these are the trials and tribulations that regular YouTubers don't have to go through. Charlie has to go and find someone to switch off her washing machine because it's beeping. The more popular YouTubers would have had a maid to go and do that.
I'm so sorry. We've had Lucian Yak deliveries. We've had washing machines. This is classic.
It's perfectly all right. One day when we are rich and famous like the Kardashians, you will have somebody to come and do that for you.
Is it me now?
It is you now with the next one.
Bourneville by Jonathan Coe. So obviously, I think it's historical. It's obviously set in about like a chocolate factory. This is one that, like, if you would have told me in the past Charlie that I would be putting a Jonathan Coe book on the list, I probably would have been like, what? Because it isn't like an author that I've ever been gravitated towards. But historical about talking about chocolate. I mean, hello.
Yeah, I think that. Well,
it's not actual chocolate.
There are a few books, aren't there, that have been discussing these chocolate factories and the communities surrounding the chocolate factories.
Exactly.
Last few years, and they do tend to be like the contemporary women's fiction style books, and so I don't want to forget about them or negate their existence, because I feel like Jonathan Coe is writing a book that is quite similar to those books that already exist. Somewhat similar to the Quality Street Girls. If you've seen that in a charity shop, which I think your sister has,
I think so.
Then I do think that this, there's a big history there in England. I know it's making it sound more serious than it is, but surrounding the factories and the lives of the people who work there. So also, I think it was Katie of Books and Things has talked about Jonathan Coe in the past and enjoyed his books. So that does make me
more optimistic
for the.
And also, it's set in an area of England that means a lot to me. Like, Auntie comes from Birmingham way. She lives around that area, and when I was a kid, I spent many a time going to the Cadbury's chocolate factory, and it was always a big treat for us. So it's got family reasons again, Great Circle. So this is I'm happy. I want this to be listed.
You'll have to remind me to tell you one day about how a church stopped me from going and visiting the Cadbury's chocolate factory.
No.
Oh yes, but that's a story to share with you.
Let's have a look at what
We'll start from the bottom up. If you start to behave like the Kardashians, I will unsubscribe.
I don't think that we will ever behave like the Kardashians. We're not bougie enough.
I mean, I don't need any lip filler for one thing.
I don't know. Thanks. What are you saying? What does that mean?
I'm talking about in relation to the Kardashians.
But you're saying you don't need lip filler. What does that?
I didn't think you did either, but I was just talking personally. I wouldn't say no to a breast reduction for myself, quite honestly. And then, so far, I have not read any of these books. I'm totally clueless about this year's long list. There is every chance that none of these books actually make it onto the long list.
And we don't mind, really, do we?
That's why we always call it a wish list anyway. I mean, we might have some loose predictions in a minute.
We have got some predictions in a second.
But yeah, don't take everything we say with probably a gallon of salt.
We know nothing.
We
This is what we always
really
say.
don't. I haven't been following any books that have been published this year. When Charlie said about doing this video again, I quickly had to cobble together some things for a wish list, and that's how we came up with
Charlie
it.
says this, but Charlie always, whenever Charlie has, you will spot a book, you'll be like, oh my god, Charlie, this is like such a nice book, and then we'll park it. You'll forget completely its existence. You'll forget that you've even mentioned it to me.
I do.
That's where half of these have come from, because these have been books Charlie has actually said about. So
I have to admit, I do remember when it came to Women's Prize and us making that video for your channel, just saying to you, can we put Trespassers on this list because I have a good feeling about it?
And I was like, oh. That's one of my favourites.
So the next book on our list is Vanishing Maps by Cristina Garcia, which is, speaking of when Charlie says about sending these messages to each other about books, this is one of the ones I did that with, because here we have a family saga set in the tumultuous backdrop of Cuba, and it begins the blurb discusses a matriarch within this family and the descendants spreading across the globe. And something that Charlie and I really like is a family generational saga. So that's why that's on this list.
It is indeedy. Do you want to say about so we should quickly run through what we think is on our predictions?
I did not realise that was the final book on our list. So that's our entire list there.
We've got the lovely Leah in the comments as well, clueless about books.
Okay, I will just press show.
Leah's got a lovely little channel. She's just quite new to BookTube in the last month or so, and she I love her videos. This is one that you've got to watch out for, Charlie, because Leah's lovely. And also she's getting married in October, and she's got a hen do in a matter of weeks.
Do not worry about missing the list, because it's gonna be on here. You can go back.
Charlie will write it in the description.
But do you want to? Shall we just run through the wish list again really quickly?
Yeah, we can do for you quickly. Right. We'll just say the names. Do you want to say one name and I'll say name? And
yeah, so we have Demon Copperhead,
In Memoriam,
Birnam Wood,
The Covenant of Water,
We All Want Impossible Things,
The Story of the Forest,
Lucy by the Sea,
Girl Ghost Banana,
Land of Milk and Honey,
House of Doors,
In Ascension,
Bourneville,
and Vanishing Maps. And we are also going to be I will be putting this list of books in the description as well, including our predictions that we are going to run through now.
Which is also a sneaky way for us to add books that we love, or that we love, that we really want to read.
Yeah, so sometimes Charlie and I can't decide on just one wish list, so we also quickly cobbled together a few for the predictions as well. It's
wait for this.
It's funny that you should say this as we're about to run through our predictions.
Yeah, our predictions. The first prediction is, do you want to say it?
Yeah, so we'll go odd and even again. And firstly, we have Victory City by Salman Rushdie.
Demon Copperhead again.
Then we have Birnam Wood again.
In Memoriam again.
A Spell of Good Things by Ayobami Adebayo.
I feel like that's I don't know, is it? I don't know.
I don't know. We're just so hopeful about that one.
Secret Diaries of Charles Ignatius Sancho, which I really want to be listed, and it's got and the author so that's by
Paterson Joseph, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. And he has got links to some of the judging panel. So cross fingers.
Honestly, you sometimes Charlie and I get excited about books, and Charlie really, really wants this to be on there. You don't understand the excitement.
If I would have had a 14th spot, if we'd have had a 14th spot, this would have been our wish list.
Charlie is currently like every child in 1999 wanting a Furby.
Yeah, exactly. You want to say next one?
Then we have The North Shore.
To Battersea Park.
The New Life by Tom Crew.
Which loads of people have been talking about.
Yes.
Cuddy.
Charlie really doesn't like the idea behind Cuddy, which is one of the reasons that I want to see it on the long list, because I have borrowed this book from the library, not in relation to the book along list, but because I've got a friend who's writing a book that's somewhat similar, which is going to be utilizing poetry and script and all that. And I want to read this so that I can, when it comes to helping my friend with the editing and critiquing of their book, I feel like I'll be more informed to do that. But knowing that Charlie's having such a reaction to this book already really makes me want it to be on there, just so that we can have such a polarizing opinion at the end.
Again, we spoke to Bob the Bookerer, and he listened to the audiobook of this, and he said that the audiobook is amazing and it's got a lovely accent to it.
Yeah,
and
so I can understand that, because from what I've read, you can see where there's some. I feel like you can see where there'd be some great play on sound, and so that I can understand why it'd be a great audiobook. So
therefore, I won't be going back to the physical copy because I would have thrown it across the room. But the audiobook I might try if it gets listed.
Okay. I feel like we changed the next book, but the other day I
but say the one that the original. Yeah, say the original
one I've got written down. Okay, so next I have A History of Burning.
And then we've got The Biography of X.
And then finally, River Sing Me Home by Eleanor.
I love this book so much.
It is so annoying to me that I haven't read this book yet. In fact, I might throw out our Charlie and Charlie challenge to try and get this read before the end of July, but probably not, because I have some time yet.
Good, read it. I would.
But yeah, we found out about this book again, another generational family saga.
It's not so much it's not really generational.
I just said it's not generational. You're correct.
It's a family saga, though.
Family saga, though, yeah.
And it's by a Caribbean author.
Yeah. So again, this was another one when we found out about it, and we were like, yeah, that's a book that we'll both like. So, and
it's got great characters in it. This is another one with really good characters.
So yes.
I know. Honestly, Leah. Small Worlds and Chain Gang All Stars. I would like both of us are interested.
Yeah.
I love Small Worlds, and
I really want Chain Gang All Stars on there. But sometimes when Charlie and Charlie are communicating, we have to make some choices, and sometimes one Charlie is not interested in a book, and another Charlie is not interested. So we
both love. I have changed. Like originally, when I saw Chain Gang All Stars, I was like, I've had mixed feelings about the thought of it, but actually now I'm interested in it.
I just feel like sometimes we like to be more unanimous when we're putting the list together.
Yeah.
So we don't like any sort of unsurety in there. But
I'd be really happy. Both of us would be really happy if those books get listed, Leah, honestly.
Especially considering I do have the arc of Chain Gang All Stars on my Kindle, so it would be.
I'm so jealous. You always get the best arcs.
It's one of the things that Charlie is going to continue, and most of my friends do have a go at me about, is that I get all of these arcs from NetGalley, which are like really big books, and then I never read them.
What are your guys' predictions? Tell us what you think. I know I've seen them, the ones you picked up, Leah, and so yeah. But tell us if you've got any that you definitely think will be listed. I mean, I'm fairly certain Demon Copperhead's a fair set, isn't it?
So, is Cuddy for the Booker what Pod was for the Woman's Prize?
For me,
for Charlie, probably. I did not even pick up Pod. I have no intention of ever picking up Pod. I have no want to read an erotically charged Finding Nemo. No, thank you. Then we have a few predictions from Clueless About Books, where we have Demon Copperhead and Victory City.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
both very good choices.
I definitely think that they like. I do think Cuddy could, because based upon what the judges' tastes are, I think that there's a few that kind of like that kind of genre. So yeah. In Memoriam, I loved In Memoriam. We've said about In Memoriam. I loved In Memoriam. Carla, I'm currently reading.
Yeah.
Even though I say currently reading because I've read a chapter, and I read a chapter on like Monday or Tuesday, and I haven't picked it up since because I've been busy.
Yeah, we were quite busy on Tuesday. We had such a good day of filming on Tuesday, and I mean, I'm really thrilled that we actually got to have this very, interactive and chatting to people in terms of this video, so that's fine. But it was just the way that when we started recording on Tuesday morning, you talked about how this was a sign from the universe that all these things were going wrong for you, and then it was my video, the video that we made for my channel, that got corrupted. No.
Yeah, they aren't used. But do you know what? I feel like, again, with this mix of judges, I feel like there could be anything in the mix.
Yeah, it's also like the definition of the thriller, because we have had some surprises before. You know, we had that graphic novel on the list one year, and I feel like Eileen by Otessa Moshfegh, that was originally billed as being somewhat similar to a thriller. So I think it all comes down to the style of writing as well.
Yeah, the literary. And also we've had some sort of like contemporary ones before, because we've had Such a Fun Age, which some people would say is very contemporary. And so yeah, they do throw ones in there that you might not expect always. Again, going back to Elizabeth Strout, that would be one that people were surprised that was listed. So you can't always predict what they're going to put on there.
I don't know what Hangman is.
I don't know what a hangman is.
We're quite out of the loop sometimes. And then we have, always hoping to see a couple of books on the list I've not heard of before. I would agree with that.
Yeah, we love that.
Only a couple, though. Only a couple. You know, like we like a little sprinkling of books we haven't heard of before. We
haven't got any Fitzgeraldos, have we? We haven't listed any Fitzgeraldos. I feel like we've missed one.
Oh no, we didn't list any Fitzgeraldo. But you know, we'll leave them for Kieran.
I feel like they're the ones that will be surprising additions.
Yes. They'll be the ones that sell out within 5 minutes and no one can get a copy.
We'll just do the e-copy, surely. I'll just read an e-copy.
Oh yeah, we could do that. I always forget those things exist. I'm not very technologically minded.
I think you are more than you think. Anyway.
Yeah, so
what are you guys up to today, Amelia and Leah? What are you guys up to? And what are you up to, Charlie? Tell us what you can say.
Well, one of the reasons that we are in a rush and had to get this video done now is because today is my final day before I return to work, and try not to get frustrated by the lack of volunteers and what have you, because everybody takes holidays in August. Well, it's July and August because of the summer holidays. So that's going to be fun. I feel like I'm going to need a lot of tea, and I feel like I'm going to be listening to audiobooks as opposed to music this week to try and calm myself down. And I also have the writer's group this afternoon, and my mother wants me to take her out in the evening. So it's a bit full on today, action-packed and what have you.
Normally I'm at the library with the little kiddies, but not today.
Do you know Charlie still won't kick a child in the head?
Not on purpose.
I know, that's what she said. That's how we defined how we were different. I think I
always try not to, like, when there's a carpet full of little ones.
Yeah, Charlie would be really upset if she accidentally kicked a toddler. And
or trod on one. I don't think anyone would ever kick a child. I think you could accidentally tread.
You could accidentally tread on a child, and Charlie would be really upset by that. And I would say that they shouldn't have got in my way in the first place. And
Charlie is joking, by the way. In case you don't know Charlie is joking.
And that is how we differ. Stillborn by Fitzgeraldo might be on the list. If it was, that would be great, because I have an arc of that. That's very kind.
Small. Are you enjoying Small Worlds? I love Small Worlds. Small Worlds is like one of my favorite books. I love it so much.
You see, Charlie noticed that you were reading, and I saw looking after my puppy, and so immediately dog. Oh, well, I'm glad that we can be a distraction.
Yeah, sending you loads of love, because we're worried about Amelia. We love you, Amelia.
So yes.
I hope you recover quickly. And yeah, I'm off out. I've got to go and pick up my daughter's friend who's coming over for the day, and then I'm also, before she comes over, I've got to quickly hoover. Literally, I've cleaned the rest of the house, but I've got to quickly hoover. I do need to quickly hoover this. This is just something I need to do.
Oh, you're so good. Our mother used to just send us around to other people's houses so she wouldn't have to do any of that.
No, we're going to have Domino's for lunch. I think that's the plan. I might be making a brownie, depending. I
have never heard someone sound so disgruntled by the idea of making a brownie.
Well, Belle's happy about it. Well, me making it.
You. I know that Belle will be happy about it.
She is happy.
Yeah.
No, it's because it's like a lot of work. If you make a brownie, it's like there's loads of steps to it, because you have to melt the chocolate. I'm not going to explain to everybody. I'm not doing a recipe for brownies.
I can remember saying to my mother, you have to remember with a brownie, it's not like a cake. So you take it out when it says, leave it in the tin for a bit and it'll keep the gooiness inside. And she did not believe me. And honestly, Charlie, she made the crispiest brownies. Nobody in my house could get their teeth into them because she did not believe me.
You really have to be careful with brownies. You don't want an overcooked brownie. It's always better to have a gooey brownie than an overcooked.
Exactly. You want the softness on the outside. You want them a bit gooey. You don't want them to... See, this, as somebody
who's passionate about brownies.
I'm passionate about any sort of baking, and as somebody, I keep getting people saying it to me at work, where they say, "You used to make a load of really nice cakes. Why haven't you done that?" And I'm like, "Because I gave up sugar in 2019, so there's literally been no impetus for me to make a cake."
Thank you for watching, Leah, as well. Leah's just saying that she's got to go, but thank you so much for watching, Leah. We really appreciate you coming along. Everybody, if you're watching in the future, people that are watching in the future, go and check out Clueless About Books. Leah is lovely, and yeah. Oh, look, Kira's here!
Literally arrives after we've done the
As we're just about to say goodbye.
Which makes sense, you know. That's probably the best time to arrive, when we're about to sign off.
Yes.
Because, you know, we're now all these sarcastic because we're really...
Yes, it's live.
Yes, it's live. If you go back to the start, you'll find out that there was a huge error with the video we recorded on Tuesday.
Everybody go sign up to Kieran's Plek.
Yes, and
Plek.
Keep reminding Charlie that he is actually still in there. Because...
Kieran, are you doing the Book a Boy ticket thing this year like you did last year, FYI? Because I forgot to ask this. Or are we just going to just like... Because I always join for Book a Season. I try and join for Book a... I want to join for Book a Season, but I don't know whether I'll actually join the chat because I'm rubbish with actual Discord.
Well, that's what my problem is. I keep forgetting. Sorry. I was having an incident with my slippers.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm so excited for Book a... How excited are you, Charlie?
Well, we went through this as well.
I don't care. I can still read.
I'm not as excited as Charlie, simply because of how the Women's Prize went earlier this year. And I was going to follow the Women's Prize, and then so many of the books that were on the long list, I did not like the sound of. And so I actually dropped out of everything, didn't I? In terms of like all the bookish things I was supposed to be doing. And
that's fine though.
Just sent Charlie a message like, nope, they have not followed my wishes. I will not be reading any of the books. And so I only read Trespasses and sodded off.
Yeah, you did. Book a Season 23. And what was the one that you loved? It was like a sci-fi one, wasn't it? And what was your one you're advocating? Last year it was Lumpsuckers. And what's this year again? It's Ice Something. Is it Ice Something?
So it's not Venomous Lumpsucker this year, which
No, but Kieran's... I think it was Ice Something. What was it, Kieran?
To be fair, there are some great memes that come out.
It is. It's Ice Something. I'm sure it's Ice Something.
You see, this is what I mean. Charlie has the knowledge about these things.
Because I watched and I was excited. Because I always get excited.
Oh, yeah, you sent me the list.
Yes, I did. I took a picture of the Pluto Shine. Pluto Shine.
Where the flaming heck is ice in that?
I know. I think it's the cover. Was it the cover looked kind of like sci-fi icy?
Then Kieran is telling you it turns out it's not eligible.
Oh no!
It's perfectly all right. You know, most of the lists that Charlie and I put out are never eligible for anything.
You're gonna have to find a replacement for your Lumpsucker Pluto Shine. Nice.
Just go with some Sailor Moon manga. You'll be okay. Kieran made a book. I
wrote them all down.
Yeah, we can send you the list, or you can go back and watch the video again.
I think I took a picture of it and I sent it to Charlie, so I can send it to you, Amelia.
Yeah. Did you take me a picture?
I took a picture of it and sent it to you.
No, I know you sent me a list, but I didn't know it was a picture.
Oh, no, maybe I didn't take a picture. I wrote them down. Either which way, I can take a picture of the list I sent to you and then send it to Amelia.
We send each other too many messages.
Or go and watch Kieran's video, obviously. If you really watch it again.
We are terrible people.
He has watched it.
Yeah.
I'll send you the list, Amelia.
Yeah, I still have an intention to read Venomous Lumpsucker, but it'll probably happen when I'm about 70 years old, and it's now.
You got it. You got it out of the library.
I got it out of the library, and I see it at the library every week.
Your library is the coolest library for getting that book. My library would not get this book.
Well, actually, we're getting rather annoyed at my library because they keep every week I go. And every week I go and look for a book that I want, that I know was there, and then I find out that they've taken it off the shelves and sent it somewhere else. And I know they're going through something at the moment. All of the libraries local to me are having to cut their hours. It's a huge scandal. We're going to lose them for 1 day a week. It's all of this. There's even plans to close my library entirely and move it into a separate building where it just becomes a little alcove somewhere. It's awful. But they did get venomous lumpsucker. And they house my right.
We're going to wrap up and say goodbye soon because I've got to go pick up the... oh, no, Kieran!
See, Kieran's having the same problem that I'm having here.
That breaks my heart. I don't like it when libraries are shutting down.
Our governments are just not the kindest when it comes to the arts and it comes to libraries. And it's a whole thing about funding. And yes, it's why I say to everybody, take books out your libraries, use your libraries, because if you don't use them, you lose them. And people don't realize that they aren't just places for books. They have so many things for people within the community. And
we do 1,000 things in our library.
It's a whole thing. I mean, that I could rant about this for days.
Me too. We love libraries.
But
that's nice. A note to end on.
Yes, Charlie does have plans, and this Charlie has plans, and we are just thank you, Charlie, for agreeing to come and do this live this morning, because I did not know what we were going to do when that video would not work yesterday. But yes, thank you to everybody for joining us this morning to hear what our wish list is for the Booker Prize.
And thank you to everyone in the future watching. Thank you.
I believe that we might be doing a reaction video to the long list.
We are on Tuesday.
Hopefully, I get back from the garage in time.
We'll react at some way, somehow.
It's so scandalous this year that Charlie and Charlie got lives, so everything we're having to do seems to be happening in a mad rush.
That's okay.
Yes, if you have read any of these books, if you have different ideas about what should be on our wish list, do let us know in the comments. Quick challenger are there. Because yes, Charlie, do you have anything to say before we sign off?
I'm so excited for the Booker 20. I'm excited in general, but I'm super excited for the Booker 2023. Yeah.
Yes, join us. I'm sure we will be recording a few videos here and there throughout the.
We'll be doing our usual, I'm sure.
This is going to start a few more word games throughout August. About
I love our word association when we do that. Last year when we did that, that was like my most fun thing.
Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be. You're going to see a lot more of Charlie and Charlie, not just for the Booker, but for the rest of the year. There are.
You did say it was the start of the end, didn't you?
I did say it's the beginning of the end of the year. We are like the Strictly Come Dancing of the year. You know that the end of 2023 is fast approaching when Charlie and Charlie reappear on your screens. But we do have to go because we have plans. So
I've got to go pick up the door.
We hope that you have enjoyed this video because until next time, that is all.